First boy was JD. We were together for approximately 2 years before he went home on parole. During those 2 years, we developed great feelings for one another. You know, he was like my shadow. Every way you seen me, you seen him. Um, we were best friends. It wasn't the relationship wasn't based on sex. You know, me fucking him in his ass. It was more than that. I cared deeply about him. I woke up. First thing I wanted to see was him. Before I went to bed at night, the last thing I wanted to see was him. In love with him.
The game is in the penitentiary a set of rules dealing with homosexual activity. You know, you got what you call boys and sissies. Then you got your man. Um, so, you know, I was looked at to be turned out, you know, what they call fresh meat. I ended up going to down to a room to smoke a joint. We was on the Sun game, 16 dorm at that time. And we ended up doing some other things. And that's what brought me in. Once you start something in here, you don't change it. They don't too easily let you do that. Once you're one way, you're always that way.
Lean up, oh God, Spirit in me.
Alabama spends the lowest amount of money feeding inmates than any other state in the Southeast. Mississippi, Florida, Tennessee, Georgia. They spend 73 cents to feed people here. Now, 73 cents, you're not going to get a good, nutritious meal out of 73 cents. I don't care where you stand. This is a world within a world. You got everything under the sun here. You got homosexuality, run rampant. You've got gambling, you got gangs, you got everything. You know. Josephine.
JG, my righteous dog. He's like the older brother that I never had. I got unconditional love for him, not just because we both bloods, but because he's always been real to me. You know, we've had our ups and downs and differences and problems, but we love one another. Seriously.
We was real close. Like I said, we was close. We used to talk. We used to share our problems. You know what I'm saying? We used to share boys and mainly he looked up to me. You know what I'm saying? To me, I was like his role model, the person he wanted to be like. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I done, he wanted to do, like my little brother. I don't want to know how much I got in my pants. They make a kill misdemeanor. I really it's like he living in my bank account, steadily rising. Ain't no more public highs. Nigga, my rent outside. I'm around that mile before I blow up. Come on, before I keep it 9 on my hip with 2 extra clips. You can't lie.
The hustling part is because people don't have any money. And, you know, there's no way to make money. This is how the game works. I ain't got no means of money. I got a box full of candy back there. Cookies, zoos, and wham-whams is what they call it. I'm going to loan it to another inmate. I'll let you get a pack of cookies for 2 packs back next week. If a man borrows too much stuff, it gets too far in debt, either you fight for it and let him know I'm not going to pay you, so me and you just going to have to whoop each other's ass and we're going to go to lockup, or we're going to go back here and fuck, just ever how you want to do it. That's the way it works. He might have borrowed 10 suits and ended up fucking out his ass the rest of his life while he's here on account of 10 suits. got him that way. Because 10 suits, if you can't pay it this week, it's going to cost you 20 suits next week. And the week after that, it's going to be 40 suits. So sooner or later, the man's going to step to you and tell you, hey, I'm tired of your shit.
Wait, take a boy like me. Come from now.
I basically met Lamark Moore in 1996 or 97, one at Staten, and we were business partners. Okay, when I left and he left, we met up again here at Limestone in 2000. Okay, and it was the same scenario.
Hips went to the street and come back to prison. When he got to the camp, he owed out like $300-400 worth of shit. When he first got there, from before when he was in prison.
Mark had a boy, David Mendenhall.
I met Mark on the chain gang. I would say it was in 98.
Mindy, he was my baby. He came to me. Mindy came to me and requested to be with me. You know what I'm saying? Which was rather strange because this is like the first guy that ever pulled up on me and said, hey, man, can I be with you? So it was rather shocking.
Here at Limestone, you don't have the guys waiting at the back gate on you. About the only way you can get turned out is you fall for the game.
I turned Adi out. Adi was fresh in prison. Had been chased by half of the camp. And he ran from him. And I don't know, he just... Basically, he said he wanted someone to be real with him, someone to give him attention and affection. And he seen how I treated Mindy and my other boys, and he just wanted to get in, so he did.
They started, giving me things I like, anything I wanted I could get.
Well, I had never been through it before. I had never turned a boy out or had a boy or anything. And that wasn't my objective. I was just supposed to pull him away from the other people he was kicking it with and to kick it with us.
When my folks quit looking out for me, I felt betrayed. I was at my lowest self-esteem. So I had to find a way to pick me back up and make me happy, make the best out of a bad situation. And Mark and Mendenhall, they did that.
Where you from, man? Over here. I get out tomorrow, right? Tomorrow? Yeah. All right. Okay.
David Mendenhall, he worked on radios. He had to fix my radio and everything. We got to talking, eating together, drinking together. We'd do a little drugs together.
I spent some time with him as far as kicking it. We might play cards together. All of us would. We'd get together and do it.
I run tattoos, run a store, and hustled. All right. So me and Mark started running the store again together, hustling, trying to make more money and more money and more money and more money. And before you know it, I ended up with 2 boys, and he ended up with 2 boys, and we called it a family.
Right. And that's the way we looked at it. We had a family.
I don't like this no more than you.
For me, my boys.
Don't you know it?
We build from the beginning, the bond of trust. I would let them go out and walk around by themselves, but I knew other guys wanted to be with them. And I know they would give them things, for free because they was trying to pull them away from me. So it benefited me, in that aspect because, I could let them go out and hang out or go and laugh at someone's face or, flirt a little bit. And come back with some food or come back with some cigarettes or come back with some coffee. And so it usually starts with one of my boys. I see a boy that I like and I tell him, hey, I like that person. You need to start spending some time with him, start talking to him or whatever. And they wind up building a relationship.
The motive of the game is it's not all to have you sexually, not for real. Because they know, say in my case, I'm a young dude, I look good, everybody wants me in the camp. They know if they could get me, and they could invest a little bit. The way the game goes, I owe them then. It happens all the time. They could pimp me out, and make, triple, make more money like that than what they've invested. That's how the game goes in here.
Until I might make Jim Beam sue.
Julep is more or less a prison world whiskey. Make it out of yeast, orange juices, and rice. It'll get you drunk, pretty much like free world alcohol. Like I said, we got to drinking that night, and both of us was pretty tipsy. We were just laying on the bed back there. He was at one end of the bed, and I was at the other end of the bed. And he just started rubbing on my leg. So automatically, by me being pretty well drunk, I had began to come erect. I didn't have any complex about it. I already liked him. He's a good-looking dude.
So we called him Youngin. He just trusted me, with his feelings and everything else, whatever he thought about it. He felt he could talk to me.
So for me to live clean and have what I like, I guess when I started hanging around Mendenhall, he was doing all that. They give me anything I wanted: free world clothes, boots, shoes, watches, things of such. And I knew that if I left that I wouldn't have all those things. After Mark had found out that I had slept with Mindy, he became anxious. He wanted to himself. But as far as me and him, I really didn't look at him like that right then because I wasn't spending much time with him. He was just basically the financial his sister. I wasn't spending a whole lot of time with him. But as I did, I started to grow to like him also. And then when I was spending time with him, Mendenhall would be jealous. So it was causing turmoil in the family. That's what we were, we're a family.
This was the second time Mark being here. And they shipped him again. But whenever they shipped him, then that's whenever pretty much the responsibility landed on me to make sure they're all right and to make sure nobody messes with them. You got to, if you have to, die for him.
The reason why I left him with him because I know he's a good person. I know he wouldn't mistreat him. And if I would come back to that certain institution, if I wanted him back or they wanted to be back with me, he wouldn't have a problem with it.
If I wasn't in the game, then I wouldn't drink and drug. There's not many times to where I just want to look at reality, what's around me, what's happening. I try to stay messed up so I don't have to see it. That's how I cope with it every day.
I got out of lockup, and I was trying to deal with it out of my feelings for Mindy. I was trying to deal with it, but he had changed. He's caught up in himself too much, too self-centered. He always worried about him, when he was going to get high the next time. I just couldn't deal with that. I don't like being around them type of people. As far as the aspects of life goes, yeah, it was better. I could go to the barber and get a haircut anytime I wanted. Wouldn't have to take nothing with me, And then as far as the lock in my box, I didn't really have to because I didn't have to worry about anybody breaking in at all because they know that I was associated with Mark, so they wouldn't mess with that. Mark had a pretty good reputation around here.
Well, I've used many different techniques to get a boy. Tricks, manipulation, boo game, hero type, captain save a hole situation, all sorts of things. And yes, I became very good at it.
I'll make sure you have something to eat every night. You know, I'll make sure you have something to smoke. I'll make sure you have some coffee. But I'm not never giving it to him directly. He's getting it from one of my boys. So when that person might feel like, you know, no, it's not me or whatever, you know, then I cut him off. I cut his supply off. You know what I'm saying? Now I give him time to think about it. You know what I'm saying? He was getting free dope. He was getting free whiskey. He was getting eating every night. He was smoking every night. And then he was getting free sex. Now he don't get none of that no more. And to be able to get that, and this is what he got to do.
Well, one of the first things they're going to throw up is the stuff they've given you. You know, you owe them for that. And then they kind of put the boo down with it, the boo game. And to where you owe them that plus interest, you know. They try to get you in a bind.
Telling you some gas, what you want to do?
Y'all got me leaking and everything.
I'm gonna let you get it.
Bullshit.
Put it all the cup back.
Sonny, give me that think I'm just gonna buy your shit and then I ain't gonna taste it.
You don't, hey, look, you ain't gonna just be drinking the whiskey, right? That's all you getting now. What's up? It's gas, ain't it?
It's sweet.
No, you ain't
Trying to
finna
sell
rock
us some
me.
bad water.
Straight.
You an alcoholic, so it don't even matter. You just want to drink.
You always about the big game, man. Ain't no robbing. You always about the big game,
Every
man.
time I be trying to have some business, man, you always show
about
up.
the beat game, though, man. You still owe me 5 bags,
I
partner.
don't owe you nothing.
Man. You still owe me 5 bags. I tell you what, you go ahead and get this. It'll be a great deal.
There's a gallon right here. Give me
I
10.
grew up in a family of 9 brothers and 4 sisters, and my father, he left, you know, when I was like 9 years old. BPS on her stomach stand for Black Peace Stone. She's holding a dope sack in her hand. My other girl over on this side, she's got a bike. She holding a shotgun. That's my hood. You know what I represent. Black Peace Stone Blood Nation.
Looking back over the years, I guess I shed some tears. I told myself time and time again, this time I'm gonna win. Taking the bumps and the bruises of all the things of a 2-time loser. I tried to hold on, my faith is gone. It's just another sad song. I look back at the times, living in a 3-bedroom shack, wicked streets, nothing to eat, and hemming out clothes on my back. So many hard times.
I grew up in Pritchard with my grandmother, my mother. Lived there all my life. Slum area, ghetto. Bees make the world go round. Meaning bloods make the world go round, in my opinion. I love blood with all my heart. I joined at a young age. It was more so like a family to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't grow up with a father or uncles or nothing like that. No father figure. So I looked up to the bloods as like role model.
He didn't like our lifestyle. He wasn't accustomed to taking or going by rules and all that. He just did it. He wanted to do just what he wanted to do. And he's not working around and got with the wrong crew, the wrong fellas. I guess he began to be part of the crowd. You know, doing just illegal stuff.
My case is really simple. I shot a guy in the projects. He was the opposite gang member. I got 20 years for it.
I wouldn't know what a blood is. What I've never dealt with gangs. You know, I was blind about all that. There was no man in the house who was him growing up. So he was around a bunch of ladies. Mother signed him over to his great grandmother, and she had control of him. That boy never, not one weekend went by that he can't stay with me. That his great grandmama didn't call my house as soon as we got him to the house, and all kind of weird complaints and stuff. He needed to be back home. I had to actually take him back several times. Same time, he never gave him the chance to stay with him. It was always like they thought maybe somebody was gonna take him. It never was like that. And once he got up, 12, 13, then she wants to go and call me. Want me to chastise the child or something. At that age, it was impossible. I would have had to fight him and all this here to get him, and I just couldn't see it. I mean, it wouldn't have happened. It would have been worse, I think, with me and him than it is now if I had tried that. The areas that he stayed in, all of them was bad. And with the guidance that he had, the parental guidance that he had, there was nothing left for him to choose going out in the street. We never denied him nothing. I offered him a bed in my house and food to eat. And he made that choice.
This explains symbols my time in prison. The clock at 2 hours pointing to 10. Twice, 20 years what I got. I've been betrayed so much by people who I thought loved me as far as dealing with women on the street, you know what I'm saying? Even women in my family, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really have no problem with accepting real love from whoever. First time fuck some ass. Tendon. I knew he was a boy, but what caught my interest because he lifted weights, you know. And at that time, I was often working out real heavy. He promised me to me, I ain't gonna bring it to you. If you don't wanna fuck with another man, I ain't gonna pressure you to. So one night we was in the cell. We just had a t-shirt and some boxer shorts on. I didn't try to avoid the situation. I brought it to him. I cracked him for his ass. After that, I went and took a shower and cleaned myself up and everything. And I felt guilty. I felt bad. I felt like I had just committed the ultimate sin. You know, I got back from him for a while because I had started having feelings that I didn't think were right. I started caring about this motherfucker. I mean, you know, laying up in my bed thinking about him. I might be on the weight pile thinking about him. You know what I'm saying? I might see him talking to another dude and I become angry on the inside. It was like jealousy or I don't know what it was. I don't want to say love, you know what I'm saying, but it was just something I couldn't explain. And I transferred. I go to another prison. I never seen him again.
Well, the first man I was with really messed my head up there for a while. I've had knives pulled on me. At that time, I was really more scared because this individual, more or less, I can't think of the word for it. Anyway, he was very dominant, very controlling. I couldn't talk to nobody, couldn't go anywhere without either him being there or something said about him. anyway he brought it to me. Yeah, I cried. I definitely cried. You know, sometimes I'd ask God, how could this happen? Because it's something at the time I didn't understand.
David Paul, who has been in trouble for 6 years. Maybe, we don't know, we don't judge. God, we're not to say whether he did or whether he did not. The Lord, 6 years, God, ought to be long enough. God, 6 years, Lord, ought to be enough time.
They moved in here and before the baby came. And they had it furnished nice, and they had everything a baby could possibly want. The church now gave him a beautiful shower, and everything seemed to be going great, but he would just work to death. And young, he was only 18. We believe in God and protection, and we prayed much, and had churches, and everyone praying for him, and always they'd pray for him at church. If a baby would cry at church, start to cry, well, she'd hear David hand her over to him. When he gets up, well, he picked the baby up and got up. I guess he, with his back turned to the wall and only about a foot space between them. See, we had this bed sitting down inside of water bed, big frame, and he gets up on the back side and not very much space between him and the wall there. And I guess he bumped it. He says, Grandmother, he hardly knew what happened because he was half awake and all. But he bumped himself, kind of lost his balance. He threw the baby back on the bed. And she had thrown the covers back. When he got up, he threw them back and it landed on the covers and just rolled right on off. And when he saw what was happening, he's fast. He grabbed for the baby and he got it with a little leg, but it had already, by that time, it was far enough down and hit that frame was sitting down on, all of it was on the floor at the time, and hit his little head. And it had such a beautiful head of dark hair, and you couldn't see anything was wrong with it. It just had a little bruise on the cheek was the only sign you could see where it was hurt. They brought it against him as child abuse and murder. First manslaughter, and then they called it murder.
I didn't have enough years and time and knowledge under my belt to be a father and be really supportive and foresee things coming and know what to do about it to shape a young person's life, to really be the pillar that I should have been.
Now my son is 18 and married, the baby on the way. Half asleep, too tired to think an accident occurred. Now the baby's dead and the charges are red. Murder in the first degree. Now my son's in prison. Wish I could set him free.
Well, when you're first coming in, that's what it makes you feel like. Makes you feel like that your life's on the line. That's the kind of positions they put you in. All those kind of threats come. I've been told that I'd be on TV. My folks would see me on TV, dead. Murdered in Limestone Penitentiary. I've had my life threatened a few times.
David Jr. was real close to the breaking point. At one time, he called me, and he was nearly to a nervous breakdown, and he wasn't able to eat and keep it on his stomach. And he had a homosexuals there and so forth. And he was afraid to go to the authorities because they had threatened him. And he didn't know what to do, so he called me. And I called the lieutenant immediately and moved David to a cell to himself. He didn't have a cell. He had to be out in the public with everybody. But they put him in a cell to protect him like that. And they moved him from that dorm to another place. So David was recuperated and was much happier.
I hope that those kinds of experiences, being pimped out and the homosexual activity and such as that he's had to deal with in there, I hope that's something that when he gets out, he can put behind him, not have to talk about it or bring it up and just, let it die in his past and, kind of start fresh from day one when he gets out and create a new respectable life,
Because, I never had a father, you know what I'm saying? But I always wanted a father. I like turning guys out. As far as being turned out already, especially by family members, I kind of felt sympathy for them.
I was probably about 6. And that happened with a family member. Uncle.
It. And I asked him, if Jimmy had been touching him or messing with him, like he shouldn't have been. And he said, yeah, he chases me around the room, stuff like that. So I had to believe at that point he was telling me the truth, but David didn't come to me with any request for me to do anything specifically to the situation.
I mean, just imagine, man, you meeting a guy, you know what I'm saying? He's telling, hey, man, my father fucked me when I was 5 or 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? It kind of touched me because, see, I have a daughter. And, I just couldn't see doing nothing like that. It more so even made me want to be there for them. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they were a weaker guy in prison. Guys run over them and abuse them and dog them out. It made me want to step up, you know what I'm saying, and be like a shield for them.
They might test you with horse playing, wrestling, you know what I'm saying? They might test you with little games like, just playing games like, let me feel on, they might say something like, let me feel on your pussy or whatever and see how he respond to it, you know what I'm saying? And they might try it anyway, do it and see what he do, you know what I'm saying, once they does that. If he don't show, you know what I'm saying, no real stand in, you know what I'm saying, then they'll wind up, he'll wind up being a boy.
If you go against, maybe what your man wants or however, then that's whenever you broke the rules. You went against it. And, there's always going to be, it's from the old school, there's severe consequences for that.
Prisons in the South, a white guy pretty much has it hard. He'll be tested much quicker. Black inmate.
There was this guy who was here before. He was a blood, and in Alabama, you know what I'm saying, a lot of places, you know what I'm saying, they don't believe in a white guy being a blood.
I had feelings for him, lust, even at the time that he was still claiming to be a blood. But by us acknowledging him as a blood, I pushed that lust to the side. So for me to meet him, and he was already a member of Bloods, I felt like, well, hell, he had to show some type of heart. I put it like that. He had to been improved himself. So I accepted him. During this time, it was football season, and every motherfucking prison gonna watch football. So the captain And the lieutenant, they come around and do daily inspections of the whole dorm.
So this guy in particular, he had painted a lot of satanic stuff on the wall inside one of the dorms here.
They go off. I mean, they have a fit. Until we find out who vandalized his room, no football. Another blood comes to me, say, hey man, you know who put that shit in that room? No, who? He tells me, he say, Blood did it, the little white boy. Like, what? Well, we stepped down on him. You know what I'm saying? Let him know how it's fucked up because he put all us in a fucked up position where if the dorm, someone in the dorm involves us, he can't be blood anymore. So we walk. I walk him around the prison compound. We talk. I basically let him know, you know what I'm saying, how I had felt betrayed by what he did. You know what I'm saying? And it was hard for me to deal with. It was hard for me to accept. Well, basically, I just made him feel guilty. I made him feel like he was obligated to me from that point on. He agreed with it. Me and truthfully, I seen that as an opening for me to move in and turn him out. I started to put my plan to making. I let him know that I want him to be with me. I let him know that I want to have sex with him. I let him know I want to lay with him.
So I came over there to that dorm the next day, been drinking, smoking some reefer or whatever. And I go to my little brother's cell. Well, I call him my little brother, Mark. I go to his cell and he telling me, he running the whole story down to me what this person did. So after he run the whole story down to me, like I had his door, they have cells, I had his door cracked and I see him and I call him. I say, hey, I call him up there and he come up there. So when he get up in the cell, I'm really playing. I'm playing at first. I was playing it. I was playing at first. So I asked him, I said, man, you know what you did could have got a lot of people messed up. So he's like, yeah. I said, what if we rape you right now? How would you like that?
He started crying and begging and pleading. You know what I'm saying? Mark, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be gay. I don't want to. But at this time, you know what I'm saying? I'm out of control. I don't want to hear nothing. No talk.
So my little brother, he jump up. Oh.
I tell him to turn around. He turns, he moves slightly. I tell him to turn around again. He still doesn't want to turn all the way around. So I said, bitch, if I have to tell you to turn around one more time, I'm going to break your jaw. He turns around.
He make him come out his clothes. First, he reluctant about coming out his clothes, so he slap him again. So when he slap him this time, he gonna come up out his clothes. He go to feeling on him.
I squeeze his ass cheeks. 2 handfuls. He tenses up. I started to pull his shirt off of him. I give him the grease. I tell him to put some on his finger. Stick it in his ass and you know what I'm saying, kind of like fuck himself to loosen himself up because I know he had never been penetrated before. It was his first time. And also, you know what I'm saying, that's an old penitentiary trick that I learned from some old convicts. If he screamed rape, you know what I'm saying, he had grease under his fingernail. So he greased his own self up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to basically lie and tell him I've been fucking him. He's been my boy. Hell, they going to buy it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to the extreme and get 4 or 5 other guys that lie and say I've been fucking him too, been taking care of him. He's been my boy. So I get the grease. I grease my penis up. And I lay him down on the bunk, flat stomach. So I'm rubbing his ass, you know what I'm saying? Squeezing his ass cheeks, rubbing my fingers up and down his back, you know what I'm saying? Trying to talk him through it, telling him to relax, you know what I'm saying? Still pleading, begging me. Like I said, I didn't care to hear any of that. I had made up my mind. So I go to fucking him, you know what I'm saying? Slowly at first, you know what I'm saying? To try to loosen him up. He's groaning and, you know what I'm saying, moaning and telling me how it hurts. So, you know, I bag out a little bit, just tell him to relax, breathe, you know what I'm saying? I'm fucking. At this time, my partner, my dog, he at the door. You know what I'm saying? He's standing in front of the cell. He's like, man, come on, man, goddamn. Hurry up, man. I want to get straight too. I said, well, come on. I get up off of him. He greases himself up. He shows him no mercy. He fucks him for real. Since I had to tell him, hold up, man, you know, slow down, chill out, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to hurt him for real. You know what I'm saying? And you have to go to the hospital, and you know what I'm saying? He's gonna automatically have to say what happened. You know what I'm saying? So
He have sex with him first. Then I have sex with him. Then he have sex with him. I have sex with him. Then he have sex with him. And then that was the end of it.
After this, you know, he finishes, whatever. Yeah. Boy gets on the shit jacket. You know what I'm saying? Use the restroom. Well, I fuck him. He, you know, cleans himself up or whatever. He's back on the bed, so I gonna finish up. He said, I didn't finish it first. You know what I'm saying? So I fuck him. I come off. I get my due. Next day, you know what I'm saying? He goes to SEG. Prison, that's lockup.
So I'm like, in my heart, I'm like, damn, we through. We done got us a rape case.
But now he doesn't tell the folk that he was raped or had been penetrated or nothing. He tells the people that he was assaulted by some other inmates who he couldn't identify. So they place him in segregation. Me and my partner, we go to the lieutenant who put him in SEG, and we explain the situation as far as he was a member of our gang and we beat him out. And he didn't want to tell them who beat him up because he didn't want to bring our names into anything else. You know what I'm saying? And we explained to him that we felt like it was best that he be out the gang. The lieutenant, he bought it. He got the officer to bring the white guy over there to the ship office. While me, matter of fact, he called several other bloods up there to verify the story. So he asked him, he said, son, is this true, what they're saying? So he told him, he said, yeah. But you could definitely see it in his eyes, you know what I'm saying, that it was something else. But I guess his pride or whatever, he didn't want to let him know he had been fucked. So Lieutenant said, son, I'm going to let you out of SEG, but I'm not going to let you out today. I'm going to let you out Monday, Friday.
And when he go to lockup, Mark sending him all kind of cigarettes and making sure he got everything he need in lockup, making sure he got his cosmetic, making sure he got something to smoke, making sure he got coffee, making sure he got food, because in lockup you can't have all these things.
Monday come around, he gets out of SEG. I see him. When I see him, he said he's in the Bible. He wants to live for God. By my grandmother raising me, or tried to raise me in a Christian environment. You know, I believe in God. I'm not gonna never go against God. So I told him, I said, hey man, I understand that. But in my mind, I truly wanted him to be with me. saying, but see, if you're gonna live for God, I respect that. And I say, hey man, whatever you need me or anything, you know what I'm saying, I'll be there for you. Okay, so cool. About a week goes by, he goes and get baptized in the chapel inside the grills and all this and that. Right? He's going to church. After about 2 weeks go by, I see he slacked up and going to church. He's hanging with other guys that they fuck ass. They smoke dope. He running tattoos. You know, I mean, if you're a Christian person or any type of person of a religion, you know what I'm saying, you don't hang around these type of people. You know what I'm saying, dealing with these type of activities. And the bitch was just fronting to try to get away from me. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he wanted to live for God, I could accept that and respect that. You know what I'm saying? But to use God to try to get from up under me and get away from what I wanted, you know what I'm saying, I couldn't accept that. So I seen him. He's laying out on the grass by the dormitory. I call him. I go off on him. I snap on him. Bitch, you know what I'm saying? I know this, I know that. I put everything all on the glass, on the table. I let him know about the joint he smoked because the dope come from me. After that, I say, you got two choices. You can either be with me or you can go pack your shit and go tell them folks to lock you up. You go back to lock up. So he looks at me. He said, man, I ain't got no problem with being with you. We hook up, you know what I'm saying? Everything was lovey-dovey. You know what I'm saying? Relationship was gravy, all good. I transferred.
You know, I'm always feel bad about, you know, that situation that ever happened. You know, after I moved on, I told him I was through messing with him. And he got with this other dude. You know what I'm saying? He wound up having sex with him. He was doing so bad, never having nothing. He wound up selling it to somebody else on the other side of the camp. You know, they have two sides of this prison. So he wound up selling to another dude, and that dude wound up selling to another dude, you know, and he just wound up, you know, going down through that because he was with all these different dudes, and these dudes was treating him different. Some of them were making him trick, you know what I'm saying? And he was doing different things, and all this, what he was going through was a result because nobody messed with him. He was a blood.
He just went crazy. He just went to sleeping with different guys. I mean, just tossing the ass up.
Everything he did after that wasn't his choice. It was the man making the choice for him. This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna go out here and trick. You're gonna go and make some money. If I don't want you no more, now I'm gonna sell you to him. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't. Everything about his life, you know, when he first came to prison, just changed.
In other words, yeah, you can say I fucked his life up.
If he stayed gone for 5-6 years or whatever, if he ever come back to prison and there's someone in prison that remember him from then, he will always be a boy.
It bothered me at times. I've even wrote him letters to apologize.
If I just give it a little time, every now and then, I think you're right. Something always happens and you're right back here. Big as life.
One more, get it. All this hot ass sun. They love that shit right here. You know, see now is my name, I'm dipping hoes in my game. My flex come over Alabama, is the state that I claim. When the niggas back here, and the hoes so blade. Touch it like a snake, we blowing it like grenades. Yeah, pounds and birds, we in the motor triple D, can't agree.
I felt shame, embarrassed, all that. You learn to deal with it, and you learn to overcome a lot of it. Because you hear it every day in here. People gonna jank with you. Some of them gonna be serious, and some of them gonna be playing. But it's gonna happen every day. So after a while, you get used to it.
When something like that happened and got in my workout program, I've done what they call taking him under my wing. If he needs something, you see, I'm not a daddy. I'm doing this from my heart. I'm doing this for him.
Let's go. Next man.
No matter what camp you're at, your reputation follows you, and somebody knows you from down there that's up here. So I fuck out my ass for protection, and to be took care of. So I ain't got to worry about some dickhead over here saying, all right, this is one I want. I know he's a weak motherfucker. Penitentiary term, I'm a fuckboy. Street term, I'm just goddamn a turnout.
For a boy to leave me, or the person I was with leave me, you know what I'm saying? They had to give me back everything that I ever gave them. You know what I'm saying? If they couldn't give me back what belonged to me, then I was gonna sell them, or they wasn't going anywhere until I got my money.
You're gonna meet thousands of people, and especially if you're a boy or sissy, everybody knows you. Everybody. The whole camp, if your name's said, they know who it is. So that's gonna go with you wherever.
Just another day that the Lord
Right now, at this moment, I'm trying to get myself back together, right? That's why I felt as if it was important to confess and talk about my past.
I don't know. I did everything I thought possible. I think I was fair. But then if I had to do it again, I would do it again, but I would do it different. First of all, he would have been, I should have gotten him when he was a baby.
On the street, I never thought that I would even be with another man, period. No way. I thought I could love another man, have affection towards another man. Over the years, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Prison turned me out to sort of a freak.
Upon my that I don't beat them, so guarantee success. Promise to survive. My mom be my witness, nigga. I'm gonna stay alive. Shoot the shit and only gain survive for the best, get out this prison.
Trying to coach my homeboy across the dorm, getting his asshole torn. We going through a storm. They made me an animal. I made a shake just in case you fools want to fade me. But this lifestyle, this how they paid me. Locked up in these chains, stuck in this game. My homeboy getting raped is a motherfucking shame. What I'm going through, but I still chill for my crew. Throw it up, nigga. What would you do if you was locked down in this motherfucker? Should I maintain or go out like a buster? Just another sucker, dead, gone. This modern day slavery